Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bachelor Happy Hour. I'm Joe.
And I'm Serena.
And we are here to recap the last episode of Grant's season that we just watched, which is the episode before Hometowns.
Yes, episode 5.
A lot of people gone at this point.
Yeah, barely anyone left.
This was a very quick season. I feel like they're...
Well, it is a quick season because I think it's only 8 episodes where we usually see 10 episodes.
Yeah.
And it was less women to start with. You know, we're usually in the 30s these days, and I think we were only at 25 to begin with Grant's season.
I will say I prefer more women.
Okay, well, that's rude.
I prefer more of more men too. No, I prefer a bigger cast, yes. Because we are now down. Like, this episode felt a little like naked to me. I was like, I need a few more players in the game here.
That's a great descriptive word.
Thank you.
I liked that word choice from you.
Oh, well, thank you. Naked?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't have used that word to describe the episode, but I think that it applies. Like, it feels like
I was gonna say
we're too empty this early on. You know,
I was gonna say stark, but I feel like I use stark a lot.
You do. Way to find a synonym for stark.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow, I wasn't expecting.
No,
I wasn't expecting
never,
all this praise.
In 4 years, heard you use the word naked as an adjective.
Yeah.
So I praise you for your courage.
Well, thank that. Wow. Well, this already. This episode's starting off one of my favorites. Okay, so we are.
But I will say the show has gotten longer as it has existed for more time. Like, Trista's season of The Bachelorette was like 6 episodes. I think, right? It was quick.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm just making a point that, like, you know, we're flexible with our season length here. It hasn't been like 10 episodes since day one, and like this is the first time it's ever been a shorter season. Charity's season, I think, was 8 episodes too.
But I haven't watched since day one, and I'm just, as an observer of what I prefer more of a cast.
More cast, more episodes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we're kicking this thing off. We're in Edinburgh, a place I really want to go, actually.
It looked very beautiful. It's not really my weather of choice, but it is your weather of choice. You love gloomy, rainy vibes. Super cozy, super romantic.
I do. And I also love I love winter, Christmas time. But I do love summer.
You love all seasons. You don't discriminate.
I respect all seasons
except spring.
Except winter goes a little too long, and I've never really been a fan of spring.
No, you like all the seasons between June and December.
I like the beginning of Major League Baseball, which is like mid-April.
Okay, but that's kind of spring.
That is kind of. Well, I guess I don't discriminate against seasons. Next week is hometown week, so when I heard that, I was like, oh, shit, we're here already. That's quick. We get a little golf scene with Jesse and Grant. Mm-hmm. They're on the golf course. Nothing major happens there, just two guys.
You know, Jesse, just one of the boys.
Just two of the boys just out there.
Hitting balls.
Onto a playing
big
with each
field.
other's balls. Juliana gets the one-on-one.
Yes.
So this is by far... probably the most important one-on-one date. Don't you think? The one-on-one, you don't think this is the most important one-on-one date?
No.
What do you think the most important one is?
Because I think that typically the people that get their first one-on-one the week before hometowns, it's like, how have you made it this far without a one-on-one? Like, it's kind of like we're choosing from a pool of 2 people this week who haven't gotten one-on-one dates. And typically I would say the people that get the one-on-one date the week before hometowns either get sent home on that date, are getting their second one-on-one date, or it's just not that serious between them and the lead. But I don't actually think that's the case with Juliana.
Or Latia.
Well, Latia got her second one-on-one date. She's already had one, kind of, because she had that night portion date from the daytime activity.
Well, I will say this. If a one-on-one date is offered to you at this point in the show before hometowns, I think you should take it.
Well, yeah. I'm not saying you should reject it. I'm just saying if you're asking me I think weeks 2 to 4 are the most notable one-on-one dates. Whoever's getting the dates in those weeks, I think it's usually something more serious than what we get with week 1 or week before hometowns.
Okay. That's
that could be a stupid take, to be honest.
Hey, any take's a take, you know.
I do know. Thank you.
You're welcome. They go on a helicopter. You know, this date was. I felt between the two one-on-one dates this week, there was a little more. There was a little more like seriousness I felt to the Latia one-on-one date, but then again, Juliana did open up, so we'll get into it. Okay, so they castle for a day, trying on kilts.
I mean, it's the princess. It's like a different version of the princess date.
Yeah,
you know, like I mean, he didn't necessarily take her on a shopping spree, and he too was playing dress up, but like it's the iconic. We see it every season. I'm not against a reoccurring date. Like I think it's kind of fun.
Well, I hope not, because then you'd be against the show, because it's basically all reoccurring dates.
Yeah, but this is like an iconic Bachelor date. We see it almost every season of The Bachelor, where they are like, we're going to give you the princess treatment. You get to try on all these pretty outfits. You get to drink champagne, and then you get to wear something really special to dinner tonight. And like, we kind of just like shower them with luxury. And I think that it's just very telling, because typically the person who gets the princess date goes far. But I mean, it's coming pretty late in the season, so I don't know how telling it is this time around, because she's already gone pretty far.
How awkward is the dancing moment on that date, where like you're two people, then there's like these professional ballroom dancers, and you see how they like split the room, and they both had to like walk down the aisle like dancing.
Oh my god, I'm not even joking. I blocked that part of the episode out.
I would
hate
that moment.
I would be fine. I'm pretty game for anything on a date that's not like me having to like write a poem or do a talent show, you know?
I don't like when people sing happy birthday to me.
No, which is, I don't know why, because you do like attention.
I don't like attention.
You were on like 5 reality TV shows.
Not because I like attention.
Really? Why then?
Because I needed the money. Okay, so yeah.
Okay.
Then we cut to the house. Latia gets the one-on-one. Zoe gets upset. At this point in the show, really like Zoe. We interviewed her. I liked her as soon as we started talking to her. She was somebody you kind of, at the beginning of the season, you didn't know which way it was going to go. Zoe being upset that she didn't get the one-on-one is totally understandable.
Yeah, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, I'm the only girl here who hasn't gotten a one-on-one. Like, I'm the obvious choice.
And I love Zoe's attitude towards life of like, this sucks. I'm upset, but I'm going to put my best foot forward, and I'm going to do my best on this group date. Like, I'm putting all my shit aside. I'm probably, she in her head, she's like, I'm probably out.
Yeah.
But let me just give it a go. And that I really respect.
You kind of have to have that attitude to survive filming this show, I think. Like, you need a little dash of toxic positivity to make your way through. Like,
you need that to survive life.
Yeah. What did you think of Juliana and Grant's conversation at dinner?
I think it was necessary. I think at this point, Juliana gets her first one-on-one late in the season, like you said. I think her being vulnerable was important for their relationship, and they related on a lot of it. He's like, she felt like a lone wolf. He's got a lone wolf tattoo. Like, what? So like they related, and she said she's falling in love with him. And when he said his interviews, he felt the same way. So
yeah, I also think it was good because we've seen bits and pieces of Juliana throughout the season, but I don't think we've really gotten to know her past her just kind of being like a fun, bubbly, happy gal. So to see a deeper side of her, and it being a topic that Grant can really relate to and they can bond over, I think it actually pushed their relationship forward a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I was just thinking, I was like, if we would have seen this earlier in the season, like you said, if Juliana would have got this one-on-one date 3 weeks ago, we may feel stronger about like. Seems like it seems like Grant really likes her.
Yeah,
and she really likes him. I just feel like we're just seeing that now.
Yeah, it almost feels like their relationship like just developed this week into something that he is actually serious. Like she might be
or it's just been developing and we haven't seen it.
But even just in their interactions, like I just feel like we've seen him get more serious and have deeper conversations with a lot of the other women, and this is the first time we're seeing him kind of build like a stronger foundation with Juliana. But I think that it's based on a shared experience, and that can really turn into something.
Yes, I agree. So leaving this date, I'm pretty much like Juliana's going to get a rose.
Yeah, I think so.
She's going to hometowns. No doubt about that.
I think so too. This episode is brought to you by Opel, the first over-the-counter daily over. This is the moment to take control.
Santi was gone.
Yeah, canceled for 15 minutes. I'd just be your...
Wait, open 8 a.m. tonight. Go to LLS.org and sign up now.
But like, everyone's entitled. At this point, like you kind of, I think throughout...
LLS.org, that's LLS.org.
We go to the group date. Carolina is having a bad time, which at this point, like you kind of, I think throughout the season, you go back and forth with how you feel about Carolina. Like
yeah, I agree.
The way she's handling the show, not her as a person. We don't know her. But like, everyone's entitled to feel the way they feel, but it is hard to side with Carolina on this date in particular because like Zoe's also having a hard time, but you see the difference of like Zoe, who's like, this sucks, but I'm gonna give it my best effort, and Carolina's like, this sucks, I don't want to be here.
Yeah. My issue with Carolina on this date and the way she went about it isn't that she's having a hard time. I mean, girl's been having a hard time. Like, this environment has clearly been very challenging for her on various levels. I didn't love her move of like going and sitting at the table. I totally understand being like, I'm not in the mood to put on a brave face today and pretend like I'm happy and pretend like I'm having a good time when I'm just not. Like, I do sympathize with that, but it kind of feels like she, instead of like being like, I'm gonna go take a moment to myself, like I'm gonna go to the bathroom and like take some deep breaths and try to like recenter myself into a positive mindset, like she literally sat in his direct line of sight and was just like sitting like it feels like she kind of baited him to come up to her and be like, is everything okay? Like she wanted him to see that she was having a hard time. She wanted him to come check on her. Like, I don't know. It wasn't my favorite because...
Well, where's she going to go, really, without being in his line of sight? Here, I don't agree with it, but, like, I also really can't talk shit about it because I'm kind of like that. Like, if I'm in a mood, like, especially on one of these shows, if I'm in a mood and, like, I don't even think the fucking lead even knows who I am at this point anymore, I'm probably, like, the one in the corner, like, this sucks. Like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I'm in a mood, like, especially on one of these shows, if I'm in a mood and, like, I don't even think the fucking lead even knows who I am at this point anymore, I'm probably, like, the one in the corner, like, this sucks. Like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I am a little bit like that.
Are like that.
I am a little like that. I probably get out of it quicker.
Like when you don't want to do something or you don't want to be somewhere, like you're not really I'm going to put on a brave face kind of person. You could be a bit of a baby.
I could be.
But
everyone's got their thing.
It's hard on this show because like negativity a lot of the time gets rewarded with attention. And I'm not saying she didn't deserve a conversation with Grant. I think the conversation was productive and sweet and really helped her like move forward from the mindset that she was in. I think that's great, but I think that it ends up being hard for people like Zoe, like Alex, like Dina, like Serafina, who are, you know, pushing through the group date, especially Zoe. I mean, like, she is pushing through probably like a lot of frustrations right now with what's going on, and she's doing her best to be positive, and she's probably sitting there being like, I too want to go cry on a rock and have Grant comfort me, and I didn't do that because I was trying to be positive and be like a team player here, and now I am the one that's going to suffer even more because I was trying to be positive, and I'm losing out on more time with this guy when I'm already not getting a one-on-one this week.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Like if this went down the way it appears, and the rest of the girls who are also trying to get to hometowns and who are also on this group date, meaning they didn't get the one-on-one, it takes time away from them, and then they have every right to be pissed off.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, what now my chances have lessened because of you.
Yeah.
And that, I would be like, yeah, that sucks. Rough situation. But anyways, Grant, I think he handles the conversation with Carolina pretty well. He like pulls her out of it.
How did you think he seemed with her? Like,
I think he seemed a little, I think he does his best at understanding that it's a difficult situation to be in. I think he, at this point, is a little fed up. It seemed like he was just kind of like, all right, like you were one of my top girls, and you basically aren't anymore because of all this.
yeah.
So, like, can we fucking figure this out or not? And I think that's how most people would be at this point.
Yeah, I think Carolina was someone that I was pretty sure was going to make it to hometowns, and I thought the conversation went really well, and she, you know, opened up, and I think that's great, and he was able to comfort her. But after the conversation, I was like, I don't know if I think she's going to go to hometowns or not anymore. Like, I have some doubts on where the relationship's going. I think he's feeling like a lot of their conversations are surrounding drama and negativity, and I think he's also probably seeing maybe what we're seeing, which is I just don't know if this environment is conducive to her personality and what she needs when it comes to the process of finding a relationship, which, you know, I don't blame her for that. It's a fucking weird environment. You're dating, you know, one guy who's dating a bunch of people.
I mean, regardless, it's the environment you're in. So.
Yeah.
But whatever. So we go to the night portion. This has been my favorite part of the season. That every one of these conversations that Grant walks into the room, it's just crickets. It's awkward.
It's awkward.
It's
every
negative.
time.
He's like,
it's bad.
He's like,
the group date vibes are always
he's like,
so
he's
bad.
like, you guys having fun? And everyone's like,
they're like, we hate you and we hate it here, and we are about to fight again with Carolina for the third week in a row. It's just bad.
We need to change a little bit of the vibes on this fucking season. I mean, it's like he walks into the room and it's just like death has entered. It's like, what is happening? What am I watching? Zoe has a good conversation with him. I liked when she was like, well, you know, I'm the only one that hasn't had a one-on-one, but he seems to really like her, and I think he really respects her too.
Could you go to hometowns without a one-on-one date?
Yeah.
I feel like you would.
I mean, yeah, you're on the show.
I don't think I would.
You may not, but like I think
most people would. I'm not judging Zoe at all, but I think it's so, I don't know. Like I think it's unfair to like be like, I'm going to take you to hometowns, but I never gave you a one-on-one date. My parents could not take it seriously if I was like, yeah, he gave like 7 one-on-one dates and he didn't give me one, but like he's here to meet you guys. Like my parents would not be able to take me or the relationship or him seriously. Your parents wouldn't care, and you would totally.
I wouldn't pass up the opportunity for America to see a hometown
with your family.
With my family.
No, you'd be doing them a disservice.
Yeah, I really would.
Sure.
I really would.
That'd be so fun.
I also do think I think it's really hard on this show to feel ready, like especially for an engagement with the short amount of time that you do have. So I there is something about like when your family meets someone that you're dating, you could get a feel of like, oh, maybe I do really like this person, or maybe I don't.
Yeah.
So I think like if you make it there, like why not see where this thing goes?
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Zoe has a good conversation. Girls, now it's the girls versus Carolina, which at this point makes sense. Then it's Dina versus Carolina, which Dina's like, I've been sticking up for you, and now I'm just fucking annoyed with you. And Carolina's like, well, I'm not gonna talk to you. And
I know
like,
it gets really hard when you're seeing the girls like Dina who are in like strong relationships with the lead be so frustrated, because that's just like not usually a good sign, you know? Like it's like Dina has no reason to be getting involved in the drama. Like she's probably going to hometowns next week, but she's just clearly so fed up.
Yep. And then Dina talks to Grant, and she doesn't really say anything, but they're like on the same page.
Totally.
Yeah. He's like you don't have to say.
Which isn't a good sign for Carolina either.
No, at that point, you know.
She barely said anything, and Grant was like, I literally know exactly what you're talking about, and retweet that. And I was like, it is over for Carolina.
Yeah. That's when I knew too.
That's when I was like, it's over.
Carolina's going home. Dina's getting the hometown.
A hometown, yeah.
And yeah, it's just like at this point, I feel like at the end of the day, Carolina was her own worst enemy.
Totally.
And it happens. I think it's easy to spiral on this show. And she did, and she never pulled herself out of it. And I think that was what we saw with Zoe at the beginning, and she pulled herself out of it, and she had a good season. And not only she had a good season, she made it hometowns. Night portion, or then we go to Latia's one-on-one date.
Yes.
They have a natural connection. Says he could see her as his wife or a wife. He said a wife. I could see her as a wife.
Oh, did he say that?
Yeah, it's something I caught.
That's interesting.
Well, when they were talking to
I didn't catch that.
When they were talking to the two older Scottish women, and they're like, yeah, that's something about like, you know, kissing bells or something was created in Scotland. And when they like at the beginning of their date, and then he did an interview, he's like, I could see Latia as a wife. A wife. I could see her as a wife too.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people could, but is she your wife, Grant?
Exactly. The
date portion was very fun, and like I love these dates. They're casual, they're relaxed, they're eating and walking. But the night portion, I feel like, was really the highlight of this date.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you can't I don't think anyone's watching this show not thinking that Latia's the strong favorite.
Yeah.
And like Juliana's creeping up on her, but I just feel like we've seen more of Latia with Grant. They seem to really like each other.
And their conversations are always, I don't want to say heavy, because they're not like dark. They're just very intentional and very serious. Like you can really tell they're trying to figure out if they can marry each other.
Yeah. Then Latia opens up about being very conservative family, the Latter-day Church of Saints, or
almost
something like that.
The church, I think it's the
Church of Latter-day Saints, yeah,
which is the Mormon church,
the Mormon religion.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, that's just like, I mean, that's if you're really strict in that religion, like, I don't know, like, was she okay if Grant drinks? And I think she is. I think it's just about them not doing it, but like,
I have a lot of questions about it, because she has never dated anyone that's not Mormon, right?
That's another thing she opened up about.
Yes.
Yeah, that I was actually very surprised when I heard that. But.
Yes. So obviously Grant's not Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
And I would hope that this was part of the conversation. We just didn't see it, or maybe they'll get there down the line. Maybe this is more of like a fantasy suites talk. But like, if I'm Grant, I'm like, okay, well, I don't practice Mormonism. Where's the line for you? Like, I think Grant drinks. I'm assuming he has coffee. Like, there's a lot of different things. Like, what does she care about him implementing? And what is she like, hey, I don't do that, but I'm totally cool if you do that. And
would you personally be open to joining, let's use Mormon because it's the example, Mormon church for someone you were falling in love with?
I mean, my knowledge of Mormonism really comes from like the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and like the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yeah,
so like my knowledge is not like super in depth about the religion, but from the things I do know, like I live my life in a very different way and by very different rules than they do. So it would not just be like I'm taking on this religion and this belief system, this community. Like it would be kind of life altering. You know what I mean? Like for me to be like, I'm cutting out alcohol and all of these things. I don't know if I would be open to it. I would be open to dating someone that was Mormon and a practicing Mormon. I would definitely be open to that, but I don't know if I would be open to converting to Mormonism.
Well,
especially like I don't know enough about it right now to say I would, but I would lean towards no.
I would be open to it. Okay, so back on topic. So I guess the big thing with Grant and Latia is Grant actually meeting her family. Mm-hmm. I think, and I would assume being open to Mormonism.
Yes, I just think him and Latia clearly need to have, or we need to.
No, they may have had that.
Yeah, sorry, they may have had. We don't know, but there obviously needs to be conversations regarding like what her expectations are for him, what her hopes are for a husband and the father of her children when it comes to their role in the church. And I think meeting her family, we see in the teaser, he's like, you know, I obviously want to like them, but this is more about if they'll accept me, because I'm assuming this is the first guy she's ever brought home that's not Mormon. So yeah. I'm intrigued on how the hometown's going to go.
Me too. I'm intrigued in how, well, I would assume the family knew going in
that he wasn't Mormon.
That he wasn't Mormon.
It can't be like, it's not going to be like, what do you mean he's not Mormon? Like, they know. I'm sure they've like done some digging on him while she's away. But I think that the conversation continues in, you know, a different direction after they kind of talk about that, where Grant opens up more about his childhood and his family structure. He specifically speaks on not having family dinners growing up, eating dinner alone in his room. You can just really tell that he sees Latia as a safe space. He opens up with her more than anyone else as far as we've seen. They get into very serious topics. You can see he's emotional in this conversation. She clearly has so much love for him. She's emotional. And yeah, it's just, I think whether they end up together or not, like, it's just beautiful to see two people connecting in this way, and like Grant talking about things that have shaped who he is that maybe he doesn't talk about very often.
I agree. Well said.
Thank you.
I think it was a lovely time.
She also says she loves him. I think that's the first "I love you." She doesn't say it to him, but she says it in an interview.
It's in my notes. Grant cries. Latia says she loves him.
Yeah, those things happened.
Yeah, like after watching that, like I said, Latia's the front runner.
Yeah.
Okay, and then basically that's over. So it's like Latia and Juliana, they're in a great spot. Everybody else, it kind of could be any of the...
It's kind of anyone's game.
Anyone's game.
Yeah.
We see Carolina grabs Dina. They hug it out. Yada, yada, yada.
Were you surprised when she grabbed her?
No, not at all. Not really.
When she grabbed her, what did you expect her intentions to be with the conversation?
That.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. At that point, I felt like Carolina made peace with the fact that Grant probably wasn't going to choose her, and was probably like, I had a pretty solid relationship with Dina, and
I don't want to leave here on a bad note.
Yeah,
Dina did stick up for her and stick her neck out for her.
Yeah.
And like clearly has kind of a soft spot for her. I thought that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was nice that they were able to leave kind of on good terms.
Yeah, it seems like Serafina wasn't sure if it was going to be her or not. Alex definitely knew it wasn't her.
Yeah, like what the heck happened? Like where did she go?
No, I just think it was just, I just think they probably just didn't have a real connection.
Yeah, you're right. They definitely didn't.
There was, there was an attraction. And I just feel like enough of an attraction for her to be there for a very long time. And I think that was kind of it.
Yeah.
I will say,
I wasn't surprised that Alex didn't get a hometown. I was maybe a little surprised about Carolina, but not super surprised. I was surprised about Serafina. I think I would have expected it to be Serafina over Zoe, not based on anything other than the fact that Serafina got that extra dog date time, had the one-on-one. It seemed like it went really well. Zoe never got a one-on-one date, even though she fully could have. And for him to be like, nah, I'm going to keep Zoe, just kind of surprised me.
really, yeah, I thought he was going to keep Zoe. Serafina and Carolina both mentioned that they felt blindsided. I don't know if that term really goes with the show.
I mean, I guess it just means that Grant was probably really affirming them and they felt secure in their relationships. I think
Carolina definitely didn't feel secure, so
that's a good point.
I don't know how she was blindsided. Like if she was like, I feel secure this entire time, like she was clearly every episode like, I feel insecure about this.
I think it's probably just hard when you're like breaking down, being like, I feel like you have stronger connections with other people and it's hard for me to watch that and I'm just confused and I have these doubts and it's all these things are happening. And then he like does what his role is as, the person dating her and the lead, like calms her down and reassures her and kind of builds her back up and like gives her some confidence in where they're at. And then to be like, yeah, but like actually it's over, I think can feel confusing. Yeah. But I feel like she might watch it back and have a sense of clarity. Serafina, I can understand being blindsided. I don't know. I thought she was probably going to hometowns, but I also think that Latia, Juliana, and Dina, and honestly maybe Zoe have stronger connections with him than I've seen with Serafina, despite her time with him.
Yeah, I just put them all in the same ballpark as far as like time and connection wise. They all seem very similar. Like Dina, Serafina, Zoe, Carolina, Alex probably the least, but they all kind of seem to have the same.
I think they just have
connection.
a similar amount of screen time.
Yeah, well, whatever.
I don't think there's any way Zoe could have had as much time as like a Dina.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah,
she just didn't get
breaking it down.
Yeah, she just didn't get a one-on-one. Yeah, I forget that Zoe didn't get a one-on-one. I just feel like Zoe was a bigger.
She's been a really consistent character on the show. Like we've seen quite a bit of her every single episode, especially because she was like involved in drama in the beginning, and then her relationship has kind of developed a lot. I just think it's been more about like her screen time versus her actual time with Grant.
Yeah, probably right. Okay, everyone, that's it for the episode. Make sure you stay tuned in to Bachelor Happy Hour, and we have Juliana coming up in our next podcast.
Yeah, we're so excited to talk to her. And then next week will be Grant's hometown episode. So be sure to tune in for our recaps and interviews on that. And subscribe. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.